I've got a pound of shrimp and I've separated them into two containers. One, the peeled meats. The other ones are the shells that I am going to throw into the freezer. I save them. When I get shells from 4 or 5 pounds of shrimp, I make shrimp stock. So the next step, I just take my knife and I just make a thin incision and I peel this apart and I extract whatever vein, you can see that little sucker right there, and pull him out so that I have the vein, which I discard under running water, and I have the cleaned shrimp. And I do that with all of them. Don't want those veins in there. Want a nice clean shrimp. Peel your ginger with a spoon. That way you get into all those little nooks and crannies and won't waste any. You need about a tablespoon for this recipe. Mince your scallions. I always put a couple tablespoons in. Super, super yummy. I know everyone loves scallions. Don't over scallion. It can really affect the flavor of your shrimp toast. A little goes a long way. In a bowl, place your soy sauce and a little bit of rice wine. Add some sugar and a little bit of toasted sesame oil. Separate your eggs. I've got my yolks there. I've got 2 whites in there because I'm making a double batch of these little shrimp toasts. And then using whatever gadget you like, whisk in a bowl or an immersion wand, go ahead and beat them. You just want some soft, frothy whites. So I'm sort of a waste not, want not person. I'm going to use those yolks as part of my liquid dredge before I pan fry my shrimp toast. I'm going to take another egg and I'm going to break them into this bowl. Add my yolks and I'll whisk those together, and that will be my liquid dredge before I place them into cornstarch and we get frying. So once you've cleaned all your shrimp, you can mince them by hand, flatten them with the side of a cleaver and smear them on a board and scrape them up. Anything you can do to mince them, but you don't want to over combine them. I'm just going to pulse them in a food processor. So now I've combined my scallions, my minced ginger, my egg white, my ground shrimp, my liquid seasonings, that soy, sesame oil, sugar, and rice wine mixture. I'm gonna stir it all together. You can season it with a little bit of white ground pepper and let it sit in the fridge for an hour or 2 before I make my shrimp toast. So using a pastry cutter or a glass, cut out large circles of bread. Remember, we're not making 1-bite little hors d'oeuvres, we're making little sandwiches. So, take a piece of bread. I take a little mini spat, put my shrimp force meat there, spread it around, not too thick, not too thin, edge to edge. Lay another piece on top of it. And you want to see, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch to a 1/3 of an inch sandwich in there. A very quick dip in egg, and then cornstarch. And that's all it is. And then after being dredged in cornstarch and put in our tray, I make 4 or 5 at a time, 360, 370 degree oil, shallow fry. I've got about, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch in there, just enough so it reaches into where the shrimp is. And I let them go for about 4 minutes aside until they're really nice and crispy. Drain on a paper towel and then serve with some fun condiments. And this is what they look like when they're flipped. And I know what you were thinking. Why the egg wash and the cornstarch? Well, I mean, that is crispy brittle on there. You can use potato starch, don't use potato flour. Don't use all-purpose flour, but potato starch, tapioca starch, or cornstarch, all will give you that super crusty exterior. And obviously this is shrimp. You want to make sure that you cook these all the way through. But that's why we spread them, I wouldn't call it thin, but we don't overstuff them. The extra ways you can tell that they're done is you can smell the cooked shrimp smell, and you can hear the gentle spatter as the juices from the shrimp mixture make their way into the oil. And once you hear that, you could, 4 minutes aside on these, you're good to go. Drain them on a paper towel and let's eat. While those are cooling for a second before we chomp into them, don't they look like sort of savory Uncrustables? Crustables? Uncrustables? Who knows? I serve these with hot Chinese mustard and typically a homemade sweet and sour sauce or a chamoy, which I love with mustard for this kind of thing. But I am now addicted to the Bomago La Boite mashup of preserves. My friend Lior from La Boite and some young French kid, Eric Repair, who I think has a real future in this business, did a collab on this. And yes, award-winning preserves. And boy, the kumquat, cinnamon, and star anise one is perfect with this. So yeah, that's pretty good. Once you cut into them, pretty darn yummy. Obviously, it's nice. Take a little bit of the preserve, a little bit of the hot mustard, which I love. Look at that. That is shrimp toast, my friends. Mmm. Mmm. Mmm.